I had always been fascinated by the supernatural, drawn to eerie tales and the unknown. So, when my friends suggested a late-night road trip on the desolate country roads, I couldn't resist. Little did I know that this adventure would turn into a chilling nightmare I'd never forget. It was a moonless night, the darkness dense and foreboding. The road seemed to stretch endlessly before us, surrounded by dense woods on either side. We laughed and chatted, blissfully unaware of what awaited us on this desolate highway. As the hours passed, fatigue started to creep in, and my eyes began to droop. The rhythmic hum of the engine lulled me into a trance-like state. My friends decided to switch drivers, allowing me to rest for a while. I reclined my seat, attempting to steal a few minutes of sleep. Suddenly, the car jolted, and I snapped awake. Confused, I glanced around, and my heart pounded as I realized we were no longer on the highway we knew. This road was narrower, enveloped in an eerie fog that seemed to swallow everything in its path. Panicking, I urged my friends to turn around, but they insisted they hadn't deviated from the route. As the fog thickened, our surroundings turned into a nightmare, and we were trapped in an unknown abyss. With trembling hands, we drove on, hoping to find a way back to civilization. But every road seemed to lead us deeper into the dense forest, and our GPS malfunctioned, showing us routes that didn't exist. As we pressed on, unease settled in our hearts. A feeling of being watched crept over us, and the forest seemed alive with malevolence. An overwhelming silence enveloped the car, broken only by the sounds of our anxious breaths. In the distance, we spotted a dim light flickering through the trees. Desperate for guidance, we followed it, praying it would lead us to safety. But the closer we got, the more the light seemed to dance and evade our grasp. The light led us to an old, decrepit house, standing alone in the heart of the woods. It looked abandoned, a chilling sight against the dark night. Despite our trepidation, we knew we had no other option but to seek help. As we approached the dilapidated structure, a sudden gust of wind slammed the front door shut. My heart raced, and a sense of dread overwhelmed me. Nevertheless, we knocked on the door, hoping someone would hear. Silence. We knocked again, louder this time, and the door creaked open slowly, revealing nothing but darkness inside. With trembling steps, we entered the haunting abode, feeling as if an invisible force pushed us forward. The air was heavy with an otherworldly presence, and strange shadows danced on the walls. My friends' faces were pale with fear, mirroring my own terror. We knew we had to leave, but the house seemed to have a grip on us, refusing to let go. Suddenly, a chilling whisper filled the air, growing louder and more insistent. It seemed to come from all directions, mocking our fear and vulnerability. Panic consumed us, and we ran for the door, only to find it sealed shut. Trapped in this sinister house, we huddled together, praying for daylight. The whispers intensified, morphing into anguished cries and sinister laughter that echoed through the halls. The walls seemed to close in on us, and the house seemed to shift and morph. Time lost its meaning, and we were caught in a never-ending nightmare. We tried everything to escape, breaking windows, kicking down doors, but the house fought back, imprisoning us in its nightmarish grip. Hours turned to days, and we were reduced to a state of madness. The haunting whispers never ceased, driving us to the brink of insanity. We were prisoners of the supernatural, lost in an abyss of darkness. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the haunting stopped. The house returned to its quiet, lifeless state, and the door opened effortlessly. With a newfound surge of hope, we fled from the cursed abode. The forest seemed brighter, welcoming us back as if it had never conspired against us. We drove aimlessly, trying to put as much distance as possible between ourselves and that accursed house. To this day, the memory of that night haunts my dreams. I wonder if it was all a hallucination, a shared nightmare brought on by fatigue and fear. But the scars on our souls tell a different story. A tale of driving at night gone terribly wrong, one we will carry with us forever.